some drunkard fool attacked me in the pub. You'll never be the actor your father was. Tonight, mad father, your son John becomes the best-known actor in America. Even better known than that brother of mine, who some call finest player in the land, our prince of players, Mr. Edwin Booth. With one shot from my little Derringer. If only you had lived to witness it. Instead of raging, howling in asylums, the voice that thundered Shakespearean rhyme reduced to cries and babbled Stygian wails. The audience for this mad thespian, a group of alienists, half mad themselves. Does madness taint my entire family? We Booths have wit, style, rage. Insanity? How dare the world declare the Booths insane? We simply drink too much. The actor's bane. My fellow actor, John Matthews, informs that president to some, but not to me, hero to the commonality, yet traitor to all that I hold dear, Lincoln, attends tonight's performance of the play, this comedy by Mr. Tom Tyler, which stars my brother Edwin's former flame, the prince of players, trollop of the hour, that actress manager, Miss Laura Keene, in Our American Cousin. Here at Ford's, this theater, where I have trod those boards as Moor of Venice and Petruchio. 2 years ago, in the Marble Heart, I raged from this stage toward this presidential box, assailing Lincoln with such vehemence I thought for sure they'd bring the curtain down. My eyes have been compared to living jewels which shoot out flames when passion fires my soul. No, Lincoln sends me notes of compliment with praise for my performances on stage. I would much rather have the praise of slaves. His Majesty could not escape the fact that my intention overwhelmed the actor, adding venom to the man who sat here, decorated by his country's flag. This country that now calls slaves citizens. I look upon slavery from the same point as held by those who framed our Constitution. The greatest blessing to themselves and us that God ever bestowed upon the land. Now, Baptists even call themselves Southern. Yes, Southern Baptists. Glory, Jesus saves! So all their missionaries can have slaves. I do not wish to shed one drop of blood. But I must run the course. That's all we have. I must do God's will. It's all that's left. Thy will be done, O God of Abraham! But not of Abraham Lincoln. Oh, no. Our country owes all our troubles to him, and God simply made me the instrument of Lincoln's punishment. It's God's design. It was predestined I should play this part as a child. Attending Quaker school, I met a gypsy who lived in the woods. She read my palm, recoiled, and cried aloud, "Your hand is bad." The lines, they all crisscross. I never saw a worse hand in my life. I wish I had not seen it, but it's true. ears. Upward they point like Satan ears. You must always cover those ears with your hair. Become a missionary or a priest. Escape the curse that envelops your soul. Go, and may God be with you, tortured one. Ow! Ow, ow, ow! Come to Ford's each day to get my mail. Nothing unusual to see, dear John. I dress rehearse each action without fail. Sic semper tyrannis! Lincoln be gone! Sic semper tyrannis. Back, the deed's done. Using a gimlet, I drilled a hole into the door that links to Lincoln's seat. I shall observe his every wretched move. I know Tom Tyler's played extremely well. At 10:15, the biggest laugh occurs. That actor, Harry Hawk, down left center, declaims, "Don't know the manners of good society, huh? Well, I know enough to turn you inside out, old gal, you sock-dollar-jizing old man trap!" I never saw the humor in that line. But audiences laugh until they cry. A shot is fired. A president retired. The laughter of the crowd shall match the noise. One little leap from box to stage to door, where my stallion awaits, like Richard III. Perhaps tonight I'll make it Richard IV. A horse! A horse! My king! Oh my God! I better ride a horse this afternoon. Prepare your props. Make sure they're close to the headline. Bowie knife and baby Derringer. Is well within the confines of my boot. To think. I killed Lincoln on Good Friday. The evening show, not children's matinee. April 14th. For me, it's quite the day. The day the Lord has made, I will rejoice, be glad in it. Hallelujah. No. Condemn me, God, because I kill. That cannot be. I'm here to do your will. Did Judas mirror Lucifer's descent to fires of hell await? Must I repent? I do not repent the blow I strike. I may before my God, but not to man. Forgive me, God, and bless my dear mother. I kept my promise to her, not to fight for the Confederacy. Still I served, delivering medicine to troops by night, and to my beloved brother Julius, namesake of our lunatic father and fine actor manager in your own right. To you, sweet Julius, I give those oil investments I have so unwisely made. They still present financial promises, but not for me. I'll stick with politics. Let others drill for riches neath the soil. What fool would mingle politics and oil? And other fools rejoice the slaves go free. How should John Wilkes Booth feel? Like Richard III! I am determined to be a villain. Oh, now is the winter of our discontent made glorious summer by this son of York. And therefore, since I cannot prove a lover of this grotesquerie they call Lincoln, oh, blush, blush, thou lump of foul deformity! Plots have I laid, inductions dangerous, to drunken prophecies, liables, and dreams. Treasons, stratagems, and spoils. 5 days after they end their civil war, I stage the act which no one can ignore. Now is the entering the winter of our discontent. The glorious summer by this son of Booth. He shot our hero, that son of a Booth. To think an actor could be so uncouth. My fate is sealed. Forgotten, gypsies cursed. When this tale's told, they'll claim I was the worst. It was an actor shot our president. A brilliant actor shot your president. Adieu, mad father's ghost. This twig was bent. In years to come, when candidates they lack, they'll dredge up new heroes. Female, but black. And the grandest jokes become to my thinking, but how'd you like to play Mrs. Lincoln? Or, after 3 days drunk, the whole day through, Lincoln awoke and yelled, "I freed the who!" Still, when oppressors rise to quell freedom, they'll cry, "Where's John Wilkes Booth?" when we need him. As Booth goes marching, bang. John Wilkes Booth. Wacky guy, huh? But what do we really know about the guy, huh? Other than the footnote in your high school history books. Okay. Okay. Some things we know to be true, but some things we can be absolutely certain. First, his mustache was real. Secondly, he killed Lincoln. Oh yeah. Shot the guy. Shot him dead, in the head. As evidenced. Lincoln! Lincoln, Lincoln, Bobincoln, Banana, Fana, Fofincoln, Amoeba, Lincoln. Having a great year in the theater, which is not exactly traditional. Lincoln. Shot him dead, in the head. Think this is tasteless? Get a load of this. Banned from the Gettysburg gift shop. And the Lincoln Library and Memorial. What could possibly be more tasteless, huh? Oh, what the Hinkley Pez dispenser? That's right. Still more impressed Jodie Foster. So he killed him. Killed him, shot him dead in the head. No second shooter theories, no grassy knolls. He killed the guy. And we know he spoke Latin. Sic semper tyrannus. Or, if you watched television last night, the Hollywood version, Tyrannus. And we know Magnus President has begun us. And we know he kept a diary. That's how we know of his dress rehearsing that assassination of Lincoln that afternoon. Natra Prepares. Good name for a book. And when I was preparing, first rehearsing that little piece you just saw, somebody had said to me that her husband's great uncle, Uncle Finus L. Bates, had known John Wilkes Booth. Partied, played cards with him in Texas back in the 1880s and 1890s. Even kept his body, his mummified body, in his barn for 12 years. And I said, that is ridiculous. Everybody knows that John Wilkes Booth was captured and killed by federal troops in Garrett's barn, burning barn in 1865. Or was he? I began to investigate. I began on a journey, studying hundreds and hundreds of books, magazine articles, newspaper clippings, interviews. It would shatter everything I'd ever been taught about the subject. I mean, to think our government would lie to us. Nothing had prepared me for that. Just as nothing had prepared me for that that newspaper clipping. The front page headline from the Enid, Oklahoma Territory, January 17th, 1903. Special. David E. George, a wealthy territory resident who committed suicide here at the Grand Avenue Hotel by taking strychnine mixed with wine. Announced on his deathbed he was, in fact, John Wilkes Booth, the assassin of Abraham Lincoln. He said that for many years he had assumed different identities, remaining incognito, or as they say in Oklahoma, incognito. Assuming many identities. Now all this time, the man has received large amounts of money from unknown sources. A governmental investigation is pending while surgeons examine the body. Well, this man is the same age Booth would have been, and his leg's broken in the same place and the same manner as Booth. A fractured fibula, which he got when he jumped the presidential box there at Ford's Theater. Caught his boot in the American flag. Hit the stage and shattered his shin bone. Well, I guess a lot of people get caught up in the American flag. You know what they always tell an actor? Break a leg. If you think about it, Lincoln gets to the theater a half hour late, stops the show with his entrance, makes a 20-minute speech, gets a standing ovation, and then says, "Let's get on with the play." No wonder an actor shot him. Okay. Call me naive, and call me gullible, but I like to believe everything the history books tell me. I like to believe that, I like to believe what the government says. But, see, it makes life so much easier. You don't have to think. But, oh, woo! I love a mystery. I love when I hear from none other than Jack Ruby. That's Jack freaking Ruby. That if Adlai had been vice president, Kennedy would still be alive. I love phrases like, Lincoln had a secretary named Kennedy. Kennedy had a secretary named Lincoln. History repeats itself. Or expressions like, Maryland's alleged suicide. So, you can imagine how excited I got when I read that there were not one, but three, count them, 3 bodies identified as that of John Wilkes Booth. One tossed in the Potomac, one buried in Washington, and one buried in Baltimore. Okay, so, if the body is buried in Baltimore's Greenmount Cemetery, dig it up, test it for DNA. Hey, they just found the body of Richard III. Only took him 500 years. Because that makes him Richard Deterred. Sorry, I couldn't. So, dig him up, test with DNA. Right. Wrong. Maryland authorities will not allow the body to be exhumed. But hey, Grant isn't buried in Grant's tomb. Who's buried in Grant's tomb? Why, certainly Mrs. Grant. But, hey, it isn't even a major Baltimore tourist attraction. For that, they got the grave of Edgar Allan Poe. So, they will still tell you, though, he is buried in Baltimore, Hoon, despite sworn testimonies from soldiers at the scene. This body ain't Booth. Booth always wore black. This guy's wearing a Confederate uniform. Plus, this here guy's got red hair and freckles. I've seen Booth on stage a bunch of times, and this ain't him. They say, if you want to know the truth about John Wilkes Booth, look no further than the one filled tooth, just one filled tooth. People examining the body saw one filled tooth. Dental records presented at the scene, one filled tooth. However, this is not the man I knew. Not the man I operated on. There's no resemblance in this body to John Wilkes Booth whatsoever. You see, a week before the assassination, Booth had a second tooth filled. So, what was this telling me? The burning barn, an illusion, a smoke and mirrors, an American theater deception, some 19th century magic act. Gather round, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, as I will you away to the world of magic and mystery, sleight of hand, prestidigitation, leisure de man, necromancy, as we ask the question about the disappearance of John Wilkes Booth, the man who shot Abraham Lincoln, America's greatest Jewish president. Of course he was Jewish. He was shot in the temple. Guy shot him with a bum. Right. Now, we have a bottle of water. In this case, Evian. Spelled backward naive. innocent water to represent one not so innocent, not so naive. John Wilkes Booth. Huh? Now, using theatrical makeup to give him the look of a runaway slave, he goes from place to place, assuming different identities. This particular one, John St. Helen. John after John Wilkes Booth. St. Helen after the Americanized version of the place where Napoleon was exiled. Mount St. Helen. John St. Helen. John the Exile. Now, watch the water. Watch the water, 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 watch the water. All right, who saw it? Shout it out, number 1, 2, or 3.
3.
Huh? 1, 2, or 3. 1. Very good. You know too much to live. Got him. So he becomes David E. George. After David Harold and George Azaroth, 2 of his co-conspirators. All right, watch the water, watch the water, watch the water, watch the water. I once had a teacher who flunked me in history. She asked, who shot Lincoln? I answered, don't blame me! Watch the water, watch the water, watch the water. Who saw it? Number 1, number 2, or number 3?
2.
2. But he is always John Wilkes Booth. Caught! But he's John Wilkes Booth. Or Johnny, get your gun, get your gun, get your gun. Take it on the run, on the run, on the run. Watch the water, watch the water, watch the water. He tears out. As we tear a page from the diary of John Wilkes Booth, after being hunted like a dog through swamps and woods, I am here in despair. Why? For doing what Brutus was honored for what made William Tell a hero, and yet I was striking down a greater tyrant than they ever knew, and looked upon as a common cutthroat. I am abandoned, and the curse of Cain upon me. The curse of Cain, the murderer wandering in the wilderness. All right. Well, for this murder in the wilderness, there's $100,000 reward. So, for $100,000, number 1, number 2, or number 3?
3.
Ah, very good. Well, you see, John St. Helen, kaput.
1.
David E. George, vanished. And John Wilkes Booth completely disappeared. The disappearance of John Wilkes Booth. Don't you love cheese? I couldn't resist it. Do you think that's cheesy? Stick around. So, what happened to it? Disappeared? Well, for that to find out, I guess you'd have to ask the man who got me started on this whole journey. Friend to the friendless, lawyer to political assassinations, to political assassins, I should say, and grandfather to the actress Kathy Bates. That's right. Finest Hill Bates, attorney at law. Well, it was in spring, 1872. Whoa. I was a lawyer while still in my teens, in the active practice of my profession. I was settled in the great state of Texas, in Granbury, Texas, near the foothills of the Box Mountains. Now, among my first clients in this yellow candidate was a man who had well, been selling tobacco and whiskey without having acquired the proper license for the privilege of carrying on such activity. Now, this man had been selling tobacco and whiskey out of the house of a man named John St. Helen. So, I interviewed this St. Helen. Well, mercy was plainly to be seen. This man was sorely troubled, had a restless, uneasy manner, seemed almost haunted if you will, and refused to appear before the grand jury of the federal courts in any capacity on behalf of my client without giving sufficient reason for his inability to do so. Let me say right now, this man acted dramatically in eloquence by word, motions of the body, gesticulations of the hand, utterance of the voice. Well, never before since equaled by anybody in my memory. All of which made me wonder, who could this man be so unsuited to the life of seclusion and the wilds of the West? And why, without any visible means of support as far as I could tell, did the man always have more money than was warranted? Well, in all things, yes, in all things come the day of reckoning. One day, St. Helen shows up at my office. Mr. Bates, I would like to retain you as my legal representative for all matters of a legal nature. Are we in agreement? Excellent. Now that you are in my employ, as my attorney, I must inform you. My name is not John St. Helen, and for this reason cannot appear before the grand jury of the federal courts lest my true identity be revealed. Were that to occur, oh, the repercussions could be devastating to many. Oh, I wish that I could laugh with those who laugh, weep with those who weep, wet mine eye with artificial tears, and frame my face to all occasions. However, if your client were to declare guilt, to plead guilty to all charges, I would gladly pay all the fines, as well as the court fees. Are we in agreement? Excellent. Well, St. Helen was as good as his word. Now, sometime later, he accompanies me on a walk with a young actor named Roland Reed, who's appearing at the Granbury Opera House in a series of plays with his family. Suddenly, out of nowhere, St. Helen lets in on him, "Your acting reminds me of a simpleton trying to impersonate an idiot." Full of sound and fury, signifying nothing more suited to the playgrounds of the innocent and the half-witted than to the stages of a theater-going public. You must create the impression upon your audience. By your superior intelligence, you stamp the play with individuality of character. Well, now I really had to know who this man was, this critic of fine acting. Well, sometime later, St. Helen becomes weak and emaciated. Yeah. We all thought he was dying of pneumonia. So, about 10 o'clock one night, he summons me to his bedside. All right. Here's the other cheesy part. Now, I know you're all thinking, oh, Scott Baker, he couldn't resist doing some cheap 19th century melodrama death scene. But, hey, it's the way it happened. replete with opera. Oh, we may get operatic. My dear friend, come closer. Closer. Do you remember when I told you my name was not John St. Helen? My name is John. John Wilkes Booth. Yes. Yes. No, the very same, the very same. We'll find a picture under my pillow for identification. Upon my death, you must inform my brother, Edwin Booth of New York City. Yes, Edwin Booth, the Prince of Play, yes. Both my brothers know I'm alive. They know I'm alive. They know I'm alive. Sent me money for years to keep me alive. Both my brothers, consummate actors, gave the performance of their lives when they identified the body of that red-haired, freckle-faced Confederate as that of John Wilkes Booth. They had to, they had no choice. They feared for their lives. Lincoln's assassination and my escape revolved around a conspiracy to reach the highest branches of government involving Vice President Andrew Johnson, Secretary of War Stanton, both of whom hated Lincoln, all orchestrated by the organization. The organization. The Knights of the Golden Circle. A radical, mysterious, militant branch of Freemasonry, which at the time was over 300,000 strong with headquarters in London, and who just happened to own half the bordellos and opium dens fixed here in Singapore. And that's how they financed everything. How they financed me. Oh, if I make you understand. It was just a few days after Appomattox. Spirits in Washington were high, celebratory. People thought the assassin of Abraham Lincoln was still alive. It could have caused a second civil war. So, of comfort no man speak. Let's talk of graves, of worms and epitaphs. Make dust our paper and with rainy eyes write sorrow in the bosom of the earth. I have come to deem myself a coward and to despise my own existence. Well, St. Helen had this here Mexican boy working for him. So I done told Mexican to go fetch a big bottle of brandy. And together, the Mexican and I, we massaged the brandy into St. Helen's skin. Till our fingers plumb wore off. Well, we come around. Gets better. Then it gets well. Sometime later, he comes to my office. Do you remember anything I told you when I was ill? Then my life is in your keeping. But fortunately, thank God, is my attorney. Are you referring to what you said about your sweetheart and your last love? I have had a sweetheart, but no last love, and could not in my wildest delirium have mentioned a subject so barren of concern to me. However, your suggestion is a kind evasion of what I did say to you. Well, having confessed to his lawyer, the priest, and several others, John got the St. Helen out of Dodge, or out of Granbury anyway, moved a few doors down to Bandero, Texas, where he became a pillar of the community. Teaching dramatic elocution to the children of the town whose parents could afford such a thing. Now, everything's going fine. Wouldn't you know it? Goes and gets himself engaged to the daughter of a local wealthy cattle baron. Everything's going great. Until the night of the wedding party. You see, one of the bride's relatives, a distant cousin, just happens to be a federal marshal who has been looking for John Wilkes Booth for years. There's still that $100,000 reward out for his capture. So the man politely takes St. Helen aside, begins asking him a few questions. You must excuse me. I'm not feeling well. I will answer any and all questions you may have tomorrow, before the wedding. That night, St. Helen disappeared, never to be seen again, leaving the poor bride waiting at the altar. To the Secretary of War, Washington, D.C., from Financial Bates, Attorney at Law. Sir, would it be a matter of interest to develop to the War Department the fact that John Wilkes Booth, the assassin of President Lincoln, was not captured and killed by federal troops as supposed? By accident, I've stumbled upon such facts as proof John Wilkes Booth is alive. Kept the matter from publication, pending notification of the governor. From the Secretary of War, Washington, D.C. Sir, regarding the issue of John Wilkes Booth, it is a matter of no importance whatsoever. Well, my law practice takes me to the great state of Tennessee, where I'll become eventually the state's Attorney General. Oh yeah. And then on the coldest day of January, middle of a blizzard of 1903, I get me a telegram from the wilds of even into Oklahoma. Not even a state, more a state of mind. Regarding the apparent suicide of a man named David E. George, who has requested in his suicide note that as the attorney to John St. Helens, I come and identify the body of this David E. George. Ordinary journeyman painter of houses, although nobody's ever seen him so much as pick up a brush and mix any paints. But who has an almost encyclopedic knowledge of Shakespeare? And has been known, on occasion, when he's inebriated enough, about Shakespeare in saloons. All of which made me wonder, because in all the time I knowed him, I'd never seen St. Helens so much as touch a drop of anything alcoholic. Well, maybe once a year. Yeah, once every spring. A man become falling down inebriate, rattling on about political assassinations and such. Every April. Every April 14th. Couldn't believe it though. If it really were him, after confessing to all these people in all these places, all these times, what would have led him to commit suicide? And in Oklahoma, he would have died of boredom. There he lay. All laid at rest in Henneman's funeral parlor. David E. George, known as John St. Helens, known as Now, Penniman the Undertaker had done a beautiful job on that body. I mean, the Baptists know how to do up a body, I tell you. There you are, old friend. There you are. Now, Penniman asked me if I wanted to say some words at the memorial service. And I kept thinking, what can I say that St. Helens has said to me? I didn't dare say foul deeds will rise, though all the world... But then, I never got to say nothing, because that memorial service never happened. That's right. The memorial service never happened. You see, a funny thing happened on the way to the cemetery. Actually, a couple of things. First of all, the body never got to the cemetery. Remember, there was that governmental investigation pending, which never happened. If you recall, it's a matter of no importance whatsoever. And secondly, that mortician had used arsenic for the embalming fluid. And the arsenic mixed with the strychnine all already in the body. How's the thing to mummify? Nobody'd come near it. So Penniman, ever the entrepreneur, sticks in a rocking chair puts a newspaper over his lap and puts it in his store window.
Wow.
Pays to advertise. If I can do this for him, think what I can do for y'all. But then one day, like magic, it disappears. Yeah, I took it. Yeah, I took that thing. Bought it off Penniman. Yeah. Displayed it at the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair in, promote my book, The Escape and Suicide of John Wilkes Booth. Oh, you know, the thing sold over 12,000 copies. And then later it wouldn't sell. So I tried to sell the Mummy. Even tried to sell to Henry Ford. Yeah, he looked that good in Penniman's window. Think how good he'd look in a Model T. Could have been worse, at least I didn't put him in a Lincoln. But nobody'd come near it. So I put it in my barn for 12 years. Then I stuck it in my garage at 1234, that's 1234 Harvard Street, Memphis, Tennessee. And still people wouldn't come near it. Except kids on Halloween come in, look at the thing, run out screaming. Becomes something of a local scandal. So what do you do with a local scandal? Although besmirched in infamy, well, you sell it to a carnival. Even in death, John Wilkes Booth would be a star! Right this way, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the greatest show, the attraction the United States government does not want you to witness. The mummified remains of the most hated man in America, the mummy of John Wilkes Booth. See where his leg was broken in 2 places. See the scar above the right eye. See the item taken from his stomach, the signet ring Booth always wore. He's here! He's real! Born alive! He's here! He's real! Born alive! Now mummified! The mummy of John Wilkes Booth! The mummy on tour. Made more money than John Wilkes Booth ever made as an actor. In show business, you never give up. All right. Cut to 1931. A carnival showman enlists the aid of some police surgeons with their new X-ray equipment. They examined the body, and these were their findings. The mummy was the same age Booth would have been. His leg was broken in the same place and in the same manner as Booth. He had the same broken thumb that Booth always hid in pictures, which he received in a backstage accident. He had the same scar above the right eye. He had those same pointy ears that Booth always hid with his hair. But the clincher was the item they x-rayed and removed from the stomach. The signet ring that Booth always wore with J.W.B. engraved upon it. The conclusion, this was, in fact, the mummy, the body of John Wilkes Booth. Other than the tabloid press, people didn't pay much attention. After all, it was conducted by a carnival showman. Now, for 13 years, carnival showman John Strong III informs me that his family circus sideshow exhibited the mummy, only to have it confiscated in 1983 by the San Mateo police. The charges: transporting human remains across state lines. One way or another, the police got him. But Mr. Strong has just recently informed me that he sued the state of California, got it back, intends to exhibit it this next season. Now, okay. After all this relentless research, examination, people often ask me, Scott, what do you really feel? What do you really think happened? Well, let me say it right now. Put a lid on it forever. It doesn't matter what I think. It's what you think that's important. It's your perception. Believe it all. Believe some of it. Believe none of it. Be totally skeptical. Hey, skepticism is good. It says you're a thinking person. There is more faith and honest doubt, my friend, than in half our creeds, according to Alfred Lord Tennyson. But whatever you do, enjoy it. I sure do. I love mystery. All part of that fantastic fabric that makes up that fabulous freak show we call America. So enjoy it. The myth, the mystery, the history, the curse. Yeah. Enjoy the curse of John Wilkes Booth. Bang.
Bravo.
Well, I'm sure there may be a lot of questions, as can be, I'm sure, a lot of silliness going on here. Was there any questions?
Okay, I got one.
Yes, yes.
I don't know if it was part of your script or part of your real life research, but you stated, your character stated, that the last that the mummy was heard from was 1983, and that...
Well, actually, that was when the mummy was taken by the San Mateo police.
And you said it was going to be...
John Strong tells me.
This is real now.
This is absolutely real.
Okay.
I was just in touch with him this morning. And, you know, if it's from a carnival showman, you better believe it. But,
and he said...
What?
And he said...
He said he intends to display it this season.
Where?
No.
Did he give you any details?
No. I don't know if it'll be at Coney Island. I seriously doubt it, because he does not have a good reputation there with people at Coney. But I have even talked to him about the potential of displaying the mummy with this show. And,
Wow.
So,
Did he tell you what condition it's in?
no. I'm sure it's mummified. I'm sure it's in mummified condition. But for 13 years, it was wrapped in purple silk at the San Mateo. That's the only real detail I know.
Well, about 1977, there was a rumor floating around the Lincoln assassination buffs circles that a fellow in Virginia had it in his basement, that he collected things like that, and he wouldn't confirm or deny it. And ever since then, we're wondering, you know, I'm one of those people in that circle. Always wondered what the hell happened to it.
Well, I'm sure, well, if it were like 1977, John says that they displayed it for 13 years, but, you know, I'm sure the numbers, you know, there tends to be some hyperbole going on in the carnival world. I'd heard the same story about the man in Virginia.
Larry Moody, or Mooney, Larry Mooney was his name. Yeah. You know, it'd be interesting to show your audience sometime in the Q&A. Open up that 1938 or 39 Life magazine.
Yes,
with
yes.
A full-page picture of the mummy.
Or show slides of it. We talked about doing slides with the show, but then it became too much. But maybe for the Q&A, the slides would be great.
Yeah.
You know, no, I think that's a very good idea. Yes.
How long have you been doing a show, Scott?
Well, I started doing the first version of it. Was a part of the drilling company's Heroes plays in that was 19. No, it was 2008. 2008 was in November of 2008, and that was a 20-minute version of the iambic pentameter piece, because a fellow named Gary Beaver, who had done a movie about me called Ballet Master, about my work at Coney Island Sideshow, told me, he said, well, you know, Scott, I know you're interested in John, but you know he dress rehearsed the thing? And I thought, that's terrific. What a great scene that would be. And so you see a shortened version of it today. But, excuse me, but yeah, I thought, well, what fun. And seriously, while I was working on that, that's how I heard about the mummy and all that stuff. So I went berserk when I heard that. What fun. And did, years of research, a couple of years of research before, a good year before I ever put the rest of the show together. And it's gone through many, many phases, many inceptions. I know Michael over here has seen quite a difference.
Yeah, you cut out the confession with the Confederate soldier who was stationed
Right.
at Lincoln.
Right. They covered that. Yeah, there were so many characters, but the narrative got muddy. That was the problem I had. I had been in touch with his great-great-great-grandson, Ted Nottingham, who's a Disciples of Christ minister in Indianapolis. Strangely enough, ironically, he attended seminary in Enid, Oklahoma.
Cool.
And he's the author of the book, The Curse of John Wilkes Booth. And that's Ted Nottingham. Now, a lot of people will go berserk when you talk about Isola Forrester, who was Booth's granddaughter. He had one daughter, Ogarita, who bore 2 kids, Beatrice and Isola. And Isola wrote a book, a huge tome, based upon 40 years of relentless research, called This One Mad Act. I don't know if it's in print now. I understand it's worth thousands upon thousands upon thousands. But get some quote-unquote PhD historians, they poo-poo the whole thing. Maybe as well they should, I don't know. But I'm absolutely fascinated by it, and I just think it makes great theater.
Do you know who Isola Forrester's granddaughter's husband was?
No.
Joe Papp.
Oh, wow.
Wow!
No, come on.
You see, it doesn't stop!
Yes.
Theater doesn't stop.
Yes,
It just doesn't stop.
Joe Papp married a lady named Gail Merrifield, who was Merrifield, who was Joe Papp's play developer,
Right.
and she is related to Isola Forrester.
Oh, for heaven's sake. It just gets more show busy by the second.
I love the way you worked in the Richard III recent findings.
Yes,
And
that was great. That was great.
Thank you. Well, as I said, actually, when the second I found that out, I called Joe Clancy, Hamilton Clancy, the drilling company, and I said, guess what? He was in a doctor's office, and I went, this is like 8 in the morning. I said, guess what? They just found the bones of Richard III. He goes, okay, I'm waiting for the punchline. And so they're going to be doing, particularly since they found it in a parking lot, every year the drilling company does the season called Shakespeare in the Parking Lot.
Oh, awesome.
And this year they're going to be doing good old Richie.
Awesome.
Richard III in the parking lot. Bones optional. Oh, I love that about Joe Pat. Oh,
Yeah.
It just doesn't stop. Yes, yes.
If there's the official government version of Booth being captured and killed, then who issued the reward money for his?
Oh, the government did. It was never collected.
So, but the two versions don't work together because one claims he was dead and the other he's somewhere out there.
It was the. Well, it was they wanted to shut the lid on the whole thing quickly, but the reward was always out there. It was never collected. It was never stopped. That's why Phineas Bates was writing to that letter to the Secretary of War because he wanted that money too. In previous versions, I made him much greedier, but. Yeah, but Isola Forrester. Wow.
Have you ever been to Enid, Oklahoma?
I'm from Tulsa.
Have you ever been there to see they've got a room where...
Oh, no, that's absolutely true. They have the room preserved. It's in a furniture store now. It's a furniture store now where the Grand Avenue Hotel was. They have, they kept his room totally restored. I mean, no, totally, not even restored, just like it was. They haven't touched it at all. And they sell T-shirts. He's quite a hero. I cut out a lot of the supernatural stuff because, allegedly he haunts the theater in Granbury,
Oh.
right? Yes, he haunts the theater in Granbury.
Somebody did a TV show about
Yes, they
that.
did on Ghost Hunters.
Yeah.
But my show was becoming. Someone said, "Well, you got all this great reality stuff, and then you go, Sci-Fi Channel on it." So I thought, she's right. Yeah.
I have to tell you that there was once a play down somewhere in Oklahoma or Texas about the Booth mummy, and I saw a videotape of it. And compared with your show, that was pretty shabby. Yours is it's so entertaining.
Well, thank
and
you.
So creative and clever.
Well, we went through Richard Harden, the late wonderful Richard Harden, who was my first director with this. So we came up with all sorts of ideas. And said, "Hey, Scott, what if the mummy narrated the whole show?" Things you toss out. Yeah, she knew Richard. Yes, Richard was quite wonderful.
It's the kind of thing you get your teeth into, isn't it?
Oh yeah, and I can't wait for Strong to present that mummy.
Neither can I.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to stay in touch with you so that
Oh,
I
absolutely.
know
Yeah.
Hey, Scott,
Yes.
have you ever played this show outside of New York City?
I don't think so.
I would love to see how they would respond to it down south.
I know. I guarantee you, it has been banned in Baltimore.
Like they really, straight up.
Baltimore will not let me go near them. They say we make us look like a bunch of idiots. Especially your impersonation of the Baltimore lady. And that horrible Baltimore accent. Balmer, hun.
Yeah. But that's very authentic.
I know, isn't that frightening?
How did you start to build the characters every time? I mean, because you have a lot of physicality and vocal work. Where would you begin with that whole process?
Usually, I start with just text, breath and text, and then, wonder if they sounded like, and I do research, and then I get into the physical. It's almost like a Michael Chekhov thing, where are they full of fire? Are they water? Are they air? Are they mud? And work that way, and then it leads. For instance, the leg, the broken leg. I read that when John Barrymore did Richard III, he would turn both of his feet and walk like. And this was like what is so Booth just turns one leg and sort of carries it because he would had broken 2 bones in his fibula, which was really strange in that movie on TV last night. Anybody see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. He jumps from the stage, and he might as well be doing river dance on stage. The guy's not hurt, and he runs out of the building. And my girlfriend and I are watching, going, "He's not hurt. He's running up and down the street."
That's because it went along with the theory proposed by one of the Lincoln assassination scholars,
Right.
that Booth didn't break his leg when he jumped to the stage.
Mhm.
He broke his leg during his escape through Maryland,
Right.
and fell off of his horse.
Mhm.
His horse fell, I think, and
Did-
fell and broke his leg.
Did they show that at all?
They referred to
They
it
referred to-
somewhere.
yeah. I was, and of course, to me, one of the most wonderful, if I were going to write a musical about any of this, it would be about the life of Samuel Mudd.
A musical about Dr. Mudd.
Yeah, because after, well, he was actually he was not innocent.
Right.
He was a part of the whole conspiracy. But Mudd, being a doctor, he goes to prison and becomes a prison doctor there. Later, he gets out and runs for political office. He becomes like a senator or a congressman or something.
Local congress, local assembly or something.
Local assemblyman, yeah. And I think only in America.
Yeah.
And sort of says, no matter what you've done, you can pull yourself up.
Did you see, I don't know if you were inspired by it, did you ever see Stephen Sondheim's Assassin?
Yeah, and have copies of it. I used to make references to it, then I kept thinking, well, making references to another show takes people out of it.
Well, I always wanted to see a show, and you have done it for me, a show that features John Wilkes Booth in one of those corny razzmatazz types of little featurettes that were in Assassins, where you see one of the presidential assassins tap dancing up the steps of the gallows.
Right.
And I thought that the story of John Wilkes Booth and the Mummy lends itself to that sort of a thing, and you have captured it.
Well, I thank you so much. Yeah, I just find it so grandly theatrical and grandly, and plus the fact, I really went out on a limb when I wrote the first, 10 minutes in iambic pentameter.
Yeah.
I thought, I'm just really going to drive myself right into the grave with this one. This is one that's really going to hate or really love, and a lot of people don't know that it's iambic pentameter anyway when they hear me do it. So, which is just fine with me. The thing that excites me, though, is the fact that this is American mythology. It's American. You can't get more American than this. I've been to the Edinburgh Festival. I wouldn't dream of taking this to the Edinburgh Festival. They wouldn't understand a word of it. I don't think they understood it at the New York Fringe. No, Michael was my production manager at the New York Fringe.
Well, I know it's a tough nut to crack, but your play belongs on the stage of Ford's Theater?
And that is actually one of my intentions. That's one of my intentions. Yeah.
And it's a tough nut to crack, because
yeah.
plays about John Wilkes Booth
Right.
are not the sort of thing that they are going for.
Right.
In fact, one play about John Wilkes Booth, a one-man play about Booth, was booked there, and when the director of the society found out, she said, "You've got to be kidding. It's like doing a play about Lee Harvey Oswald at the Kennedy Center." That was years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well,
they-
I have a connection with Ford's Theater,
Oh, good. Go for it, man.
and I think it would be fun. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
I always get creeped out when I'm in that theater, though. I remember watching Godspell in there and just kept thinking that some gun's going to go off any minute. You know.
It's distracting, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It's very.
But not for a
distracting.
play like yours, though.
No, I think about. I mean, being site-specific with it. I would love to do it at the furniture store in Enid, Oklahoma. I would love to go there and do it.
Well, that's almost like then the depository.
What?
The depository.
Yeah, yeah.
That kind of idea.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
I played Enid, Oklahoma.
And you live to laugh and joke
Yeah,
about it.
it's-
Yeah.
I did.
How long ago was that?
Oh, a couple years ago. Yeah, they have a beautiful old. In fact, they may have had something up in the rafters about him or something about the ghost of that.
Right. Huh.
Well, so you were fascinated not just with the mummy story, but with Booth as a theatrical character, right?
When I was a little kid, my mother subscribed to Book of the Month Club, and one of the books she had was Jim Bishop's The Day Lincoln Was
Oh, it's the
Shot.
Reader's Digest.
Oh, right, Reader's
It's the
Digest.
Reader's
Yeah.
Digest. Because
Uh-huh.
I had the same story.
And also, she had. It was right next to Death of a Salesman.
That's right, yeah.
And I kept growing up thinking that that Booth had killed Lincoln because he wanted to be well liked, but and it was just really true. He thought he was doing God's will, and
May I ask you your background?
yeah, I was on Broadway for 12 years in one show, and originally from Tulsa, Oklahoma, the buckle on the Bible Belt, the only place in the world where Oral Roberts could have a university. And
Have you done writing too?
well, I wrote this. Yeah.
I mean, no, 'cause-
Well, yeah. I actually, this is a theater company I belong to, the Drilling Company, where this was developed here, and continues to be developed. Oh yeah, I've had 10 plays produced here. I've had plays produced all around. Yeah.
very talented.
Oh, you're too kind. Too kind. Well, I just do what I love and love what I do. Well, some of us, we're just so honored and privileged to be able to do the things we love, and that's a great thing about New York City.
I know you're not 26 years old like Booth was.
Right.
But when you first started this play,
Mm-hmm.
you really looked like an aging John Wilkes Booth, who was at least, past his 40th
Mm-hmm.
birthday, You really looked the part.
Oh. Well, terrific. As I say, he ages to 65 in this event. And the mummy lives the mummy lives on, by golly.
And it goes on forever.
Yeah. You never give up in show business. Yeah.
Very clever.
Are there any other mysteries you're chasing now, Scott? Any other new leads or new American mythologies?
Was Lincoln gay?
Actually, I used to do. You've seen the pictures of him dressed as a woman. I used to, in the longer version of the thing, I used to talk about how they would dress him up as a woman to get him away from the assassons.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the Secret Service would dress Lincoln up as a woman. Yeah, and
Yeah, in Baltimore when he was going to his first inauguration.
Right.
And there was a plot against him.
Yeah, they would. See, let me see if I can remember the dialogue. And I've gotten so rid of this for so long. Disguised in skirts and female finery. Some say his men escort some old hag, a 6'4" tall woman with a beard. Tonight at 10:15, all they have feared becomes reality that I arrange. Tonight at 10:15, the world will change. But again, it was just the narrative of, it was getting in the way of the narrative. There were so many brilliant details that, you know, sometimes you just have to say, I'll let that one go, no matter how much I love it.
It's hard to be your own editor, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I have a lot of help from, I'm learning a lot from this. Richard Harden and I used to, we didn't know the exact, some say his men help some old hag. They've no idea it's the president in drag. But we didn't know if the term drag was popular at the time.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Well, what's your name?
Richard Sloan.
Richard, I have something for you. Yes, I have the
right,
material.
right,
Hang on one second, Richard. No.
I emailed him.
Yes, I bet this might be you, Mr. Sloan.
Oh, thank you very much.
That's all the material you asked
Thank
for. By the way, the version you saw tonight is now being published, just by New York Theater Press, and which is a lot of fun. And I just want to say thank you for a joyous evening. I had a great time.
Is this video ever going to be available to any of us, or is it just for your own?
This is actually archival purposes, and for promotion. When Ford's Theater says you have a video.
Good, good.
But when otherwise I have to get SAG involved and all that kind of stuff. So not that I'm beyond that. Thank you so much.
Oh, Scott.
Yeah. Thanks so much for coming. And may all your days be circus days!